Hi, this is Dr. Go, and I'd like to talk about a very important topic for violin practicing, violin playing. That is mind or mindfulness when we play, and how to get the most out of the ways our brains work to make our practicing much more efficient, decrease the effect of stage fright on our performance. So, first, I have to reference an article I was shown about 30 years ago by a retired neurosurgeon. This article was about putting electrodes on people versus basically normal people versus professional violinists. And when a regular person, a normal person, a person who never touched a violin in their life, moved the fingers in their left hand with the electrodes all over their head, the predicted area of the brain fired, and they could see it on the screens and everything. So, okay, great. However, when the professional violinist went up and moved the fingers of their left hand, the predicted area of the brain did not light up for them. Instead, the motor reflex area of the brain, near the brainstem, and also they found later on that also in the motor reflexes in the elbow area also lit up. So, what does this mean and what does this have to do with today's topic? Let me explain. There are three basic types of brain or mind function we're going to talk about. They're not, it's a little bit of apples and oranges, but it'll make sense at the end. And let me explain. So we have our conscious mind. That's the brilliant part of us. Each of us, our conscious minds in our own way is brilliant. We all have different speeds, of course, but our conscious mind is our most brilliant. That's our quickest. We catch everything, of course, unless, we're a little blur that day, or we're tired or something. But other than that, it's quick. Then we have our unconscious. If I remember correctly from the literature I read many years ago, this remembers everything we do from the day we are born to the day we die. And it does not judge or distinguish whether something is right or wrong. It just remembers, it imprints. It's our conscious mind that can judge and make decisions, but our unconscious just records everything. Now, the third thing is what I brought up in the beginning of this video, the motor reflex. Now, what's important to know about that? Okay, the limitation is this. I'm going to talk about another part of the brain that really doesn't have that much to do with violin playing, but it's important to understand what reflex is, okay? There's a part of our brain called the reptilian brain. We share it with reptiles. It controls things, for example, cytokines for our growth and decay hormones. So that's not something our conscious mind takes care of. That's just this reptilian brain part. So we share that part of the brain with reptiles. It's not something that we, have conscious control about. And the thing is that, remember, we share it with something that is they don't learn that fast. Now, why is that important? Many years ago, many decades ago, the old violin greats, they taught us about drilling passages. Some people said, oh, but it's good in some ways, it's bad in some ways. Well, why is it good? Why is it bad? Here's the thing. If you drill it with no mindfulness behind, it's bad. If you drill it with understanding of how your brain works and what you're musically trying to go towards, it's great. It sets you free. Let me explain. So, you decide you want to play a certain passage. And you decide, okay, that's C sharp. We want to make it a different sound. So you do it a few times, making sure you feel the sensation of backing off on that C sharp to make that different sound. Now, you made the conscious decision of what to do. You've made your decision. Now, you're going to practice it, and you're going to try to do it more times correctly than incorrectly to make sure your unconscious mind remembers. Just in case, when you're having stage fright, you have to rely on that unconscious already to be there. If you're unconscious, if you only practice a section a passage, you get it right one time, but you get it wrong 200 times. When you are under stress and you're having stage fright, guess which one your unconscious mind is going to remember? The one you did 200 times or the one you did once? Remember, it doesn't distinguish. It doesn't judge. Your conscious mind does. And your conscious mind is already overloaded with stage fright, so it's out of the play already. You need your unconscious, and you also need your motor reflex to carry you through. So, your unconscious mind, that's your first backup. You drill until you do it correctly more times than you did it incorrectly, so that it imprints exactly the way you want it. Now, you practice it some more for the motor reflex. Remember, I talked about the reptilian brain? The reason I brought that up is your motor reflex is not that bright either. It's like you are teaching a lizard how to play the violin, literally. You can't force a lizard to play the violin. You have to be very, very patient. Some people, they talk about potty training dogs. I'm sorry, a dog learns faster than most lizards, at least the little geckos that run around here in Malaysia. They chirp whenever I make a bad sound on my violin. But anyhow, these little lizards, geckos, they don't learn that fast compared to a dog. You can't potty train them as easily. So it takes a long time. You have to be that patient as you're drilling something in. Now, once you get that there, the thing is, when you're drilling something, you need to go for your quality. You want to establish a base quality control, and you make sure you can hit that every single time, 5, 10 times in a row. Don't just hit 5 times over 100 tries, 5 or 10 times in a row. Or another way to do it, depending on how you learn, is think of the unconscious mind and try to do it more times correctly than you did incorrectly. Practice slowly, establish that. Now, why is that good? Why is that bad? If you limit your brain, your musical thought, to just the drilling, it's not good, because you take out all musical creation, your freedom. If you use the drilling and you practice, after you drill, you practice that passage, using your conscious mind to make decisions, to engage new musical thoughts every time through. That means your base quality is there every time, but you're doing different musical ideas every time through. Now you're training your brain to engage both your reflex, your conscious mind to make beautiful music as if you're speaking, as if you're improvising. And you're practicing that in until it becomes natural. Your unconscious mind decides that's how you should play. When you do that, you are artistically free. Your base quality is there, and you can do anything you decide to do musically that you want to, even when you're under the stress of stage fright. So I hope this discussion wasn't too boring. And if there's anything that I said that is contrary to what your teacher told you, please ignore me, listen to your teacher. They know better for you. Other than that, I hope those of you who are exploring things in the violin find something useful in this discussion. And if there's anything that I got wrong on brain functions or something, please comment down below and give me a link so I can, update and improve my teaching, my own teaching, okay? So I wish you all the best on this incredible journey on this wonderful instrument, okay? Best wishes. Cheers.